My beloved friends, there is a deep, beautiful truth that I want to share with you today. The secret is, give it to God and stop worrying, for He will do the impossible. Just take a moment and breathe that in. So often, we carry burdens that are far too heavy for our gentle hearts. We worry, we fear, we replay the what-ifs in our minds like a broken record. But you see, that is not our job. Our true job is to trust, to let go, to allow the universe, allow God, to work miracles in our lives. You are not alone, you never have been. There is a divine intelligence that loves you, unconditionally and eternally. This presence, which I call God, knows your heart's desires and hears every silent prayer. When you worry, you block the flow of miracles. But when you surrender, when you say, God, I give this to you, you unlock a sacred energy, you activate grace. And grace is where the impossible becomes possible. Affirm with me now. I release all worry and fear. I trust the divine to work through me and for me. Let that truth settle deep in your soul. You are not meant to figure everything out on your own. You are meant to co-create with the divine. When you release your grip on anxiety, when you stop trying to control every outcome, you open the door to unexpected blessings. You create space for healing, for peace, for joy. And yes, for miracles that defy logic and expectation. Let me remind you of something powerful. God never asks you to be perfect. He only asks you to believe. And belief is a choice. You can choose, right now, to believe that everything is working out for your highest good. You can choose to rest in the knowing that the same power that created mountains and oceans, galaxies and stars, that same power is working on your behalf. Isn't that incredible? When you feel anxious, pause and affirm, I place this situation in God's hands. I trust the universe to lead me to the perfect outcome. Use this not just as a phrase, but as a healing mantra. You are a divine being. You are safe. You are guided. And most importantly, you are held. Let go of the illusion that you must carry the weight of the world. Let God carry it. He is stronger than your fear, wiser than your doubt, and more capable than your wildest imagination. And now, I invite you to envision it. Whatever you're facing, a health concern, a financial worry, a broken relationship, a longing for purpose. See yourself offering it to the divine. Picture yourself setting it gently in God's hands. Feel the release. Feel the peace rushing in. Because the moment you give it to Him, He begins to move. He begins to orchestrate, and He begins to do the impossible. In closing, my dear ones, remember this: you are loved beyond measure. You are supported by a universe that wants to see you thrive. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, stop. Breathe. Give it to God. And know, truly know, that miracles are already on their way. Because the moment you surrender, everything changes. Worry is the great thief of peace, joy, and spiritual clarity. It clutters the mind and hardens the heart. When you're consumed with worry, it's as if you've placed a wall between yourself and the very miracle you're longing for. You can't see the way forward because worry clouds your vision. You can't hear divine guidance because worry drowns out the still small voice of wisdom. And yet, we often cling to it, as if worrying harder will somehow fix the situation. But my dear, worry does not fix. It only fuels fear. It closes the door to grace and builds barriers where bridges are meant to be. Surrender, on the other hand, is not weakness. It is the most courageous act of faith. It is saying, I trust that even if I don't have all the answers, God does. In that moment of surrender, the wall begins to crumble. The light gets in. You shift from controlling the outcome to allowing the divine to orchestrate it with wisdom far greater than your own. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means giving over. It means handing the burden to the one who knows how to carry it with ease. And when you do that, something miraculous happens. Peace returns. not because the problem vanished, but because you stepped out of fear and into faith. So often we think our job is to fix, to figure out, to fight our way through, but the truth is, spiritual growth is about learning to let go. You may not be able to change the circumstances, but you can change your relationship with them. You can choose to look at the problem and say, "This is bigger than me, but it is not bigger than God." That shift in perspective doesn't just bring emotional relief. It opens the floodgates of divine assistance. When the heart softens in trust, the heavens open in response. Divine solutions begin to flow when human striving takes a backseat. There is a reason why peace follows surrender. It's because your soul recognizes alignment. Worry places your mind in resistance, but surrender aligns your spirit with the infinite intelligence of the universe. It allows your energy to harmonize with the flow of life instead of swimming upstream against it. Miracles, breakthroughs, and blessings aren't manufactured. They're allowed. They flow naturally when you stop blocking them with fear and start welcoming them with trust. You don't need to strive for the impossible. You simply need to invite it through surrender. The beauty of this truth is that it's always available to you. No matter how long you've worried, no matter how tight your grip has been, you can decide, right now, to lay it down. You can breathe deeply and say, "God, I can't carry this anymore. I trust you." And in that one breath, you may feel something shift. That's your soul saying yes. That's your spirit remembering what it feels like to rest in something bigger than itself. You don't have to know how things will unfold. You just have to be willing to take your hands off the wheel and believe that the one who created the stars can surely guide your next step. And so, the next time worry begins to rise up, pause. Take a sacred moment. Instead of spiraling, choose surrender. Don't just think it, speak it. Declare, "I surrender this. I trust the process. I trust God." Let that be your anthem. Because when you give your burdens to the divine, you're not being irresponsible, you're being wise. You are making room for the miraculous. Remember, worry builds the wall, but surrender unlocks the door. And once that door is open, no human force can shut it. The miracle is already on the way. There comes a time in every heart when the weight feels too heavy, the path too uncertain, and the answers far too distant. In those moments, we often turn inward, thinking we must do more, try harder, be stronger. But the truth is gentle and freeing. You were never meant to do this alone. Life was never designed to be carried on your shoulders without divine support. You are a soul deeply loved, watched over, and guided by a power far greater than yourself. The same divine intelligence that designed the galaxies, that paints the sky at dawn and calms the ocean's roar, stands ready to walk with you, not after you get everything right, but right now, in the middle of your mess, your fear, your uncertainty. Too often, we wait until we feel worthy before asking for help. We convince ourselves that we must be spiritually flawless, emotionally strong, and mentally unshakable before we can earn divine partnership. But that's not how grace works. Grace meets you exactly where you are, broken or whole, confused or clear. The divine doesn't need your perfection. He wants your presence. He wants your willingness. Willingness to let him in. Willingness to believe you don't have to figure it all out by yourself. You don't have to perform to be loved by God. He is already there, arms open, heart full, waiting for your yes. When you begin to believe that you're not alone, that you have a constant companion in God, your entire world begins to shift. You stop overthinking every decision, fearing every outcome, and trying to force what isn't meant for you. You begin to lean, not on your limited understanding, but on divine wisdom that sees the whole picture. You begin to relax into the rhythm of trust, knowing that unseen hands are guiding your steps. That's not just faith, that's spiritual partnership. That's what it means to be divinely supported. You still walk the path, but you walk it with a power beside you that multiplies your strength and quiets your soul. And oh, how beautiful it is to release the lie of self-reliance. You don't have to be your own rescuer anymore. You don't have to hold up the sky with your bare hands. You are not abandoned in the struggle. You are accompanied. There are moments when your own strength will feel like it's running dry, and in those moments, you'll discover that divine strength never does. It wells up within you like a fountain, renewing you from the inside out. This is not just inspirational talk. This is truth, and the moment you receive it, your burdens begin to shift. The difference isn't just in your circumstances. The difference is in your knowing. You know you're not alone anymore. Let go of the idea that you must control everything. Let go of the inner critic that says you're not doing enough. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to stop striving and start surrendering. Whisper to God, "I can't do this by myself, but I believe you can help me." That small, sincere prayer moves mountains in the spiritual realm. It opens the door to the impossible. The divine isn't waiting for a perfect version of you to show up. He's waiting for the real you to lean in, to trust, to believe that help is here and help is now. So if your heart is heavy today, if you've been trying to be everything for everyone and still feel like it's not enough, take a breath. Take a sacred pause. And remember, you are not doing this by yourself. The creator of the universe, the giver of life, the one who breathed stars into being. He is with you. He wants to help you, guide you, lift you, and walk with you through every chapter. Not later, not someday, but now. All he needs is your yes, not your perfection, just your willingness. There's a sacred rhythm to life that doesn't always align with our clocks or calendars. We pray, we hope, we work, and we wait. And in that waiting, we often start to wonder if we've been forgotten. But the truth is, God is never late. He's not ignoring you, and He's not withholding your blessing out of cruelty or neglect. What He is doing, always, is preparing the perfect moment. Divine timing doesn't bow to our impatience. It flows according to a higher wisdom, one that sees the full picture. You may not understand why something hasn't come to pass yet, but trust that if it hasn't, there's a reason. And that reason is for your good. So often, what feels like a delay is actually a divine alignment. You may be ready emotionally, but not spiritually. You may desire something deeply, but the path to receive it still needs clearing. Sometimes, what we're waiting for requires another person to grow, to heal, or to show up in our lives. And that too takes time. God is not only working on your behalf, He's working behind the scenes in countless ways you cannot see. The preparation is real. And what He is preparing is not just the outcome, but also you. Because when the moment comes, you won't just be walking into your answer. You'll be walking into it with the strength, wisdom, and clarity that only waiting could have given you. When you grasp the power of divine timing, you start to relax into the process instead of resisting it. You stop measuring your life by what hasn't happened and start trusting in what will unfold. There is freedom in surrendering your timeline to God. Freedom from the pressure to rush, to prove, to push. You begin to understand that delay is not denial. It's divine orchestration. Just as a flower blooms only when it's ready, your breakthroughs, your relationships, your healing, your purpose, they all unfold in their perfect season. Not early, not late, but exactly when they are meant to. Think back to moments in your life where something didn't work out. And later, you realized why. You saw that the relationship wasn't right, the opportunity wasn't aligned, the timing wasn't divine. And in hindsight, you felt grateful. That same clarity is coming to you now. You may not have it in this moment, but one day you'll look back and see that every no, every pause, every unanswered prayer was actually a redirection, a protection, or a setup for something far better than you imagined. That's the gift of divine timing. It always delivers what's best, even if it looks like a delay today. There's a deep kind of peace that comes when you stop fighting the pace of your life and start trusting the process of your becoming. Trust doesn't mean you give up on your dreams. It means you stop demanding they happen your way and your time. It means you recognize that God knows the right hour, the right path, and the right form your blessing should take. It means believing that while you wait, you are still growing, still guided, still wrapped in divine love. Every moment of waiting is sacred ground, a space where faith is refined, patience is nurtured, and your spirit becomes aligned with heaven's rhythm. So if you are in a season of waiting right now, don't despair. Don't let the silence fool you into believing nothing is happening. What you can't see is just as important as what you can. God is working, moving, and aligning things beyond your awareness. He is not running late. He is preparing you for a blessing that fits you perfectly. When it arrives, you'll understand why the wait was necessary. Until then, hold on, stay open, trust the timing, because the one who holds time in his hands is never a second off. Every word you speak carries a vibration, a frequency that echoes far beyond your lips. We often underestimate the power of our own voice, the energy that is released when we speak with intention. Affirmations are not just feel-good phrases or wishful thinking, they are sacred tools of creation. When you say, "I release this to God," you are not surrendering in defeat. You are rising in faith. You are aligning yourself with divine authority and handing over your burden to the one who knows how to carry it. This is not passive resignation. This is powerful co-creation. You're declaring, "I no longer carry this alone," and in doing so, you activate a shift that begins within and ripples outward into your life. Think of affirmation as a doorway. Each one you speak opens you to a new level of spiritual awareness and emotional peace. When your words reflect trust rather than fear, you become a magnet for miracles. You are not trying to convince the universe to help you. You are reminding your spirit that help is already here. Speaking life into your circumstances changes how you see them. And as your perception shifts, so too does your energy, your response, your resilience. That is why we say affirmations daily, not to escape reality, but to reshape it, not to deny the struggle, but to elevate the way we move through it. When you begin to consistently affirm your trust in God, something miraculous happens. You start to feel a sense of peace, even in the middle of chaos. You may not know how things will work out, but deep inside, you begin to sense that they will. That is the quiet confidence that comes from spiritual alignment. It doesn't mean the storm disappears, but it does mean you no longer feel powerless within it. Your affirmations become anchors. They ground you in truth. They remind you of who you are and whose you are. You're not begging the divine for scraps of hope. You're stepping into your authority as a beloved child of the Creator. Affirmations work because they rewire the patterns of your thinking. Every time you say, "I trust that God is making a way," you're replacing fear with faith. Every time you whisper, "I am held, I am guided, I am safe," you're dissolving the lies of scarcity and stepping into abundance. Your words are like seeds. The more you plant them, the more they take root. Over time, they grow into beliefs, and beliefs shape your destiny. You are not bound by your past, your pain, or your circumstances. You are shaped by the truth you choose to speak. And when you speak words of surrender and faith, you invite the impossible into your life. There is sacredness in speaking your truth aloud, especially when that truth is rooted in divine trust. Don't underestimate the power of even the simplest affirmation. God is working this out for me. That one sentence can carry you through a sleepless night, a heavy morning, a season of uncertainty. Because every time you speak it, you strengthen the bridge between your heart and heaven. You declare your alignment not with fear, but with divine wisdom. You affirm that miracles are not only possible, they are promised to the one who believes. Let your words carry the energy of expectancy, the vibration of victory. So speak often and speak with intention. Let your affirmations become your anthem, your spiritual armor, your healing balm. Whether whispered in prayer, spoken over a journal, or declared in the mirror, these words are never wasted. They rise, they resonate, and they return in the form of peace, clarity, and breakthrough. You are not just saying words. You are shaping your reality with divine partnership. And every time you say, "I release this to God," you are not giving up. You are calling in the very power that makes all things new. There is a sacred truth that we often overlook in our search for breakthrough. The miracle doesn't begin when the door opens, or when the healing comes, or when the prayer is answered. It begins long before that, in the quiet, holy moment when you choose peace over panic. That single decision, made in the middle of chaos or uncertainty, is where transformation starts. Because when you choose peace, you are declaring that your trust in God is greater than your fear of the unknown. That moment isn't loud or dramatic. It often looks like stillness, like surrender, like a deep breath taken instead of a breakdown. But make no mistake, that moment is the beginning of the miracle. Peace is not the absence of problems, it's the presence of divine perspective. When you enter into that spiritual stillness, you are saying, "I may not know what's ahead, but I know who is guiding me." And that shift, from striving to resting, from anxiety to trust, is what opens the way for the impossible to become possible. It's easy to believe in miracles when the evidence is clear, but the true invitation is to believe when there is nothing but silence and darkness. That is where peace becomes your anchor. It steadies you when everything else feels unstable. It reminds you that God is working, even when you cannot yet see the fruit. Choosing peace is a bold act of faith. It is you stepping away from